family, welcome to Cooking with Abba. Today I'm going to be making my special open bake meat jollof. Very simple, very easy to replicate with healthy salad. Simple for your guest, simple for yourself. Learn to treat yourself well in this year. In this year, spoil yourself small. I'm going to teach you how I make this simple meat-based jollof, and then I'm going to pair it with simple salad. You can actually try it out as well. So I had meat chops, and then I had the fresh meat, which was not like overly small, so I'm going to cut that up. But I'm going to be washing it with salty water or salt and water. So I start prepping that first. And for the meat, yes, the pre-chopped ones, usually I like to freeze, then I let it thaw so that all the blood and things can actually come out of it. And that also kind of softens or tenderizes it just a little bit. So once I do that, yes, fortunately, there's always some tissue be at the base. So that would leave the bloody oil down that, and that is good to go. The same thing with the fresh meat too. Usually when I buy it fresh, I freeze it. Then when I'm ready, I take it out, and that also makes it a bit softer. So I'm going to wash it first of all with the salt and water, which is the easiest way to wash and clean your stuff as well. So yes, for the first wash, I'll just turn and then let everything go away. Then I'm just going to do one more time. But you realize the meat, some of it was big, some of it was smaller. So what I'm going to then do is to actually repeat the whole process, salt water solution, and then I'm going to wash the meat as well. But for the very big meat, I can't have some big, some small, because this is going into the food. It has to be chopped. Yes, so good sizes. Yes, good sizes. Maybe like cubic sizes. Because meat will shrink, it shouldn't be too small. Else by the time you are done cooking, you won't see the meat. If you don't see the meat, you end up eating so much of it. And this is red meat, so you need to control the portions. And if you have a large family, please, you don't want to have so much, how do I say, if you have a large family, you don't want some people to eat more meat and some people not to get meat, so you have to be careful about that. So I'm just washing it over again. Yes, no matter where your meat came from, please, when you're washing, always use some salt water solution. It's very helpful. It's very helpful. So this is my trick. I just flip it over with a 2 pound so that it doesn't slip through my hands. At this point that I'm done, I'm just rinsing it so that the salt will go off, because I don't really need salt. No, I don't need salt in there. It was just to help me clean it up. And this is my third wash. So this, you can see that the blood has gone so much down. And salt helps you actually rinse and cleanse blood. And salt also, if there's bacteria or anything, because I chopped it from the chopping board and all those things, if there's any bacteria or whatever, it's going to also kill it. So at this point, I'm just taking it off, and I'm taking the meat one so I don't end up with water in there. So I'm using the salt, pepper, the black pepper. I'm also using some garlic dip, some chili, and then some gravy spice or some stew spice. Yes, I actually made these here, and I have quite a lot of my spice mixes on the channel. All the spice mixes that I use are actually on the channel, so you can check those up as well. I'm doing this mix because I don't want to use like blended vegetables, which is going to have so much water, and I wanted the meat to pick up these flavors in as I pan fry it. I'm going to do a very light stir fry of it, and I'm using Himalayan salt. You can use any salt of your preference, but Himalayan salt goes well with your proteins and vegetables. But any type you have, you can work with it as well. So I'm just going to mix this up. Let it marinate, let it sit down for a few minutes. Yes, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes is okay if you don't have an hour or two to work with. The best is actually you do it the night before, put it in your fridge, then the next day you actually use it. So like 8 hours in the fridge is nice, but reality is you won't always have that time. So 30 minutes sitting is okay. Then I'm just going to put some butter into the pan. You can use margarine, you can use oil into the pan. Then I put the marinate meat into it. So there's no water that has gone in. Don't forget, meat has its own water. So as it's cooking, it's going to juice out the water. And with all that spiciness in there, it's going to also go into it. So that gives you very good texture. Because you are doing the type what we're going to use it for, we don't need one that has muscles. You don't need something that has bones. So that is what you should be careful when you're picking your meat. So you just let one side cook, and then once the water is oozing up and then it's cooking very well, then you can turn for the other side to cook. Because these are meat chops, or they are smaller pieces of meat, it cooks faster than if it was all big and clunked together. So as it's cooking, you realize its own juice is coming out, which makes the flavor profile very good. It makes you get good taste, good good vibes. When you eat it, you realize that if you don't season your meat very well, when you're done and then everything goes into the jollof, you realize that when you bite into the meat, you don't get that taste in the meat. I added a bit of fresh pepper, which I crushed into it, because I realized that the chili and salt I added initially, I think it wasn't too spicy or too hot for my taste bud. I like a bit of, not too much pepper, but a little bit of pepper when it goes to proteins. Yes, it makes it less nauseating to eat. So I was going to bake the jollof, so I poured in my gravy base, and then the meat that I just worked on went into it, and then I was just going to add the rice. Unfortunately, this is great. You can bake in your pyramid glasswares. Yes, they are great. But the unfortunate thing is that if your rice is a lot, it's not going to cook well. If your rice is a lot, it's not going to really cook well, because for jollof you need to be stirring it, and for jollof the stew base and stuff, yes, it's not evenly spread out. So you need to be stirring some way somehow during the cook time. So I realized later on that, ooh, I should have made it on my pan, because my cook pan is a bit more broader and a bit more bigger. So that was one thing in there. And you see it as we go. So I had to transfer onto the cook pan as I went. So I'm just stirring this for every part to be evenly done in there. And I always say 1, 2, 3 formula. Yes, 1, 2, 3 formula. So usually your water, your gravy, and then your rice. Yes, yes. So that is something you need to take note of. So once that goes into your pan, I'm just going to put it in the oven and then let it do its own stuff. It should take you about 45 minutes in the oven to really cook a good jollof. Yes, yes. And you can just preheat your oven, preheat at 200 degrees. And then once it goes in, let it sit for that 200 degrees, or worst case 180 degrees. Yes, and for 30 to 45 minutes, your jollof should be actually what done in your oven. Very good result kind of jollof. So at this point, like I made mention, this was where I realized, ooh, I made a big mistake, because with this smaller bowl, it was not going to have space. And please pardon me for the light. Yes, unfortunately, this is a day that disaster happened. Yes, so pardon me for this part of the video quality. I'm so sorry about that. But I just added in some paprika, yes, yellow and red and orange, just to give it some color, and some carrots as well, just a little bit of onions as well. Yeah, so I realized, like I said, it was too small, so I just transferred it into my big pan, which is more broader, so that it can spread, because your love needs space. Yes, it's a very funny stuff, but it needs space to really cook well. So once it goes onto it, I just foil it up, because I don't really have a good lid for it. So I just foil it up so that it traps the heat. What cooks jollof is not high, it's not like heat like fire. It's more of retaining that heat or that moisture in there to cook over a longer period. Yes, that is what gives you very good jollof. If you give it high heat, pressure, it will cook, but the result is often a bit funny. Yes, but when you do a slow cook, you always get very good results in there. So you realize with this, it was done in no time. If I had left it in the glass, I would have had more troubles. and that is what affected my rice at a point. Yes, and you can use any type of rice you like. You can use jasmine, you can use basmati, you can use Thai, you can use Vietnam. Any rice preference of your choice is good to go. At this point, my jollof was done, so I just turned the oven off, and that was good. And I like this. You realize I was still getting my kanzu, the base of the jollof. I don't play with my kanzu. I don't play with my kanzu. Even cocoa kanzu, I don't play with it. Talk of rice kanzo, please. Please. The crusty base is very, very essential and very, very necessary. So I see you in the next food video. Please do live life to the fullest. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Oh. So I see you in that next food video. Lots of love for my team and I. Mwah.